Hey everybody, I wanted to do a follow-up video on the video that Ryan and I did that we released over this last weekend. And that was all about team building and why Ryan decided he did not want to quit working in youth ministry with leader changes and all those kinds of things. And so what I wanted to do is we kind of talked about from Ryan's perspective of as a volunteer why he wanted to be involved in youth ministry. And so what I thought would be helpful with is I really want to build into this channel practical tools for youth pastors. And so I thought it'd be a good idea to go through and answer the questions of how we build teams and how we maintain teams with our youth ministry. Just for a little bit of context, we are located in New England area. We're in Connecticut specifically. We have kind of like a upper middle class kind of demographic for where our church is located, but we pull kids from all different kinds of demographics, specifically the neighboring towns that are not as affluent. And so our team kind of reflects that a little bit. We go for a diverse leader group because really, here's how I think about it. I am not going to connect with every single type of kid, just like you guys are not going to connect with every single type of kid. And instead of getting upset with, oh man, I didn't connect with this kid, building a team of youth leaders that also help you reach kids that you personally can't connect with. You know, I connect a lot with juniors and senior boys. I connect a lot with, guys who want to do sports. I connect a lot with the guys who really want to maybe have some deep thoughts or things like that. But, I'm not going to necessarily connect with the super pop culture kids or the theater kids or the like middle school girls and things like that. And that's okay. I think that's important to think about. That is okay. That is why we want to build good, cohesive teams that can reach the students that we want to reach. We're going to attract a certain kind of kid personally. So that means we need to build a team that can attract all different kinds of kids because all different kinds of kids need to hear the gospel. What we're doing right now is we do a 20-minute sermon, and then we have basically like 30 to 40-minute small groups. But those small groups have games, they have questions based off of the sermon that we did for the youth service. And then I have 2 leaders per group, as much as we can do it. Right now, we have a juniors group, a seniors group, all underclassmen boys, all underclassmen girls, and then we have middle school boys. We don't have a whole lot of middle school girls right now, and so we kind of put those middle school girls in with the freshmen and sophomores for right now until we can kind of build up that middle school girl group. I try to pair up my youth leaders in teams of 2. And what that does is it allows one leader to drive the conversation, ask questions, and then the other leader is really all about giving feedback, maybe like giving like not necessarily feedback of like, oh, how the group is going, but feedback of, okay, the small group leader, primary small group leader asks a question, and then the second leader can kind of answer honestly for the group and participate in the group so that students can see how to participate in small groups. We try to have more of a conversational feel and bounce back and forth. And that is a big part of why Ryan says there's purpose in our teams. A lot of my time goes into spending time with my leaders, spending time training my leaders, and then also having leader meetings once a month. And if you guys don't already do that, I would recommend get a leader meeting once a month and give your leaders the tools they need to be successful, whether they do small groups at your program or you don't do small groups at your program. You want to be able to empower your youth leaders. This is really important. Empower your youth leaders to help you do the work of the ministry, to help you pastor these kids and connect with kids that you can't connect with, or you have a hard time connecting with. And so what we do is when somebody's on the team, I'm going to just kind of walk you through beginning to end what we do in a semester. And so what we do each and every semester, that's spring, summer, fall, okay? Those are 3 times we have an on and off ramp. And so what that is the people who are going to start helping in our youth ministry that we've recruited have a clear on ramp to begin helping with the team. And then also a clear off ramp for people who are maybe going to be coming into a season where they don't have as much time to help with youth group, or they just have a change in schedule. Maybe they just kind of go, hey, my heart's not in it. Whatever that is, we want people to feel like, okay, there's a clear on and off ramp for youth ministry, so they don't feel trapped, and so that they know, okay, each and every semester, like, I know what the calendar is, I know what the commitment is, and that gives people a lot more confidence to join your team. If you give them clear expectations, even if you think those expectations might be a little high, it's actually better to have high expectations and allow people to rise to the occasion than have low expectations because you're just trying to fill bodies in to help you with the youth group. We don't want warm bodies. That's when we get zombies. That's when we get ministry zombies. That's when we get the people that are part of the team that don't want to be part of the team really. They're just there because they're obligated to be there. Or we get those people that are like a little bit, like you found somebody who maybe isn't the greatest fit, and now you don't know how to onboard or offboard them. And it actually helps to mitigate a lot of your drama within your team, because if somebody's not a great fit, hey, you have a natural time for that person to kind of sunset in a way that is edifying, and in a way where, okay, hey, youth ministry wasn't necessarily for them, but they don't feel bad about it. They kind of knew, okay, I fulfilled what I committed to, and now it doesn't necessarily crush them to get committed with anything else in church, and help them find the right fit. Because that's the other part. You are pastoring your youth leaders oftentimes more and first before you're pastoring your students. And I know we're called youth pastors, I know we're called next gen pastors, but a lot of times I want you to kind of switch your perspective and switch your thought process from I need to pastor every single kid to I need to pastor a team. And if I pastor that team well, I will have a healthy ministry, because now that team that I've been pastoring for the last 3-4 months is pastoring these kids, and they're doing well. And now I know a whole lot more about what's going on in my youth group than I have in other semesters or other years past, just because of that on-off ramp and training the leaders, getting people with the right expectations and a timeline. That will help you also go into recruiting, okay? So, and I'll get to recruiting a little bit later, but that's what we do first. We have the on-off ramp meeting. I meet with everybody one-on-one, 30 minutes to an hour. I don't go longer than that. We just ask them how their calendar's going, talk to them about how they're doing, ask them how I can pastor them, ask them how they are needing help with their small group specifically, because sometimes people don't want to share what they're trying to work through with their group in the whole group meeting. And then that goes on to our whole group meeting. So the whole group meeting, I have once a month, we have a next gen ministries meeting at our church. We do it on the first Friday of every month. I pick it the first Friday on purpose because it helps get the team ready for the whole month. And then they know what to expect for that month. They understand what the series is going to be. They understand what the topics are going to be. And then we also do some kind of training or a Devo for the leader group. And it's really important that these meetings do not feel like meetings. Nobody wants to come to your meeting, okay? Just get that in your head. Nobody wants to come to your meeting. So how do you get them to want to come to the meeting? Well, you don't really frame it like a meeting. It's a leader get together. So you leader fellowship. So what I do is every single first Friday, I get everyone here, I feed them, and for the first hour, we're just hanging out. We're playing games. We might be playing Uno. We might be out in the backyard playing Can Jam. We'll get the fire pit going in the summer. We will just have fun with the leaders. I have a couple of parents that are my leader team, and I have a bunch of young adults in my leader team. And so we get them together, we have fun. I feed them good food. We're not talking about doing anything. Like, I know our budgets are all a little bit different. And I've had times where I've had to be the person just bringing in the food for my team. If you show them you care about them and you show them you don't want to waste their time and you bring your passion into that leader meeting and you fire them up for the month, that is the best thing you could do to keep your team interested in helping at youth group. And that's also a time where you can cast vision to that team for whatever it is you're trying to accomplish in this season at youth group, in that month, in that semester, whatever it is. It provides training. I'll have once a year a meeting where we go over our leader handbook and what those expectations are. I'll have meetings about small groups. We'll have meetings about, hey, what's like your biggest struggle with the youth group that you are trying to learn how to overcome? What tools can I help give you? And then I'll have my leaders telling me what they need help with. So now I'm not guessing as to what they actually need help with. I'm not guessing as to what we need to do training for. I know what we need to do training for. And now I can tailor those meetings to do the training for the team once a month. I'm not wasting anyone's time and they're having fun doing it. And that goes to the next thing. You want to have a team that people want to serve on. You are not just recruiting people so they can do a bunch of work. That's the thing. People hate it. People do not want the youth pastor or any pastor just coming up asking for their help. Okay, some people do, but most people don't. Most people are looking for, hey, do you actually care about me? They are looking, if they're going to be joining your team, they're usually joining the team because they like you as a person. They like you as a pastor. They think you have something that you can put into their life. And so if you don't bring that element of, hey, I'm going to actually pastor you. I'm not just looking to get you to do something for the middle school boys, middle school girls, for this youth group. Hey, I just need somebody to come to youth camp. Hey, I need somebody to help me with the rafting trip, right? Because we do have needs. We have realistic and very pressing needs. But the hardest thing to do is put those needs behind you in the moment and pastor people. You can pastor the adults sometimes just as much, and if not more, than you can pastor the kids. Because adults, if they're going to be coming to help you, they're giving you the permission to speak into their life to some extent. They're looking for a relationship with you. And so you need to be cognizant and manage that time that you give to people well, and make sure that time is spent letting them know that you care about them. Because if they are being loved and cared for, then now they're starting to learn what it means to pastor through your example. So don't get too flustered. Don't get too focused on a task that you're trying to accomplish in every single meeting. We need to accomplish tasks at meetings, but we need to first make sure that we're pastoring the people that God is giving us and stewarding that well, so that people feel like, man, I know this guy cares about me. And that's what makes people want to run through a brick wall for you. That's why when Ryan is talking about hey, I don't want him to ever leave the church because I would go somewhere else, and I'm not planning to go anywhere else. But it's because Ryan knows I care about him and I've put time into pastoring him that he wants to be a part of the team. And I have fun, do outings. I know sometimes we can't always pay for it as a church, but if people are going to go have fun, like we do, in our area, we have $13 bowling for all we can bowl. And the church doesn't pay for that. All the adults just pay for themselves to go, and we'll do that and we'll have fun. And it opens up opportunities. They have community, and when they have a sense of community, they want to be a part of your youth team because you are putting time into that with them. You're creating a sense of community with them, and now there's a sense of responsibility. So now they have a sense of community and they have a sense of purpose. Those two things are powerful for your youth ministry with your leaders. Build that team, give them a sense of purpose, give them a sense of community, and they will do things that you never even asked them to do. Okay, I have a couple of people now, they're starting to walk up and ask, hey, do we need people for snacks? Do we need people to do to do worship? Do we need people to do all these things, right? And they will bring something to the ministry that you didn't even have to think about. That's like honestly a big relief at times when you just don't have to think about it. So leader meeting once a month, build teams that people want to be a part of, stir your people, and make sure you're valuing your time when you do that. So I'm a younger guy, and this is a pitfall that I can have sometimes. I'll just want to have fun too much, right? We need to always make sure we keep that focus of, okay, we're having fun, but we're going to bring purpose to it. And so if we're going to be building teams, we need to make sure we bring that purpose to the relationship, and we make sure that we carry ourselves in a manner that is worthy of our calling. Also, just in general, to give you an idea, I'm meeting with my youth leaders one-on-one, usually like once a month, once every other month. I'm having the youth leader meeting where we all gather together once a month. Okay, so that's my structured pieces. And I have about 11 people on my youth team. With my next gen team in general, I have 15. So the one-on-ones can be hard to do every single month. When I first started out, I was doing a one-on-one with every single leader every single month. And I actually think that was required of my time when I first started. So you build up relationship and then you maintain relationship. I was brand new to this church. I came from a different state. I moved from Colorado to Connecticut, and I had to build relationships with people quickly to build teams. And so if you're new in your position and you're not like necessarily from the church that you're working at now, build up your relationships and your rapport with people. When you meet with people for recruiting, now we're going to get on to recruiting. When you meet with people for recruiting, my very first meeting is typically to get an idea of what makes that person tick. I get an idea of what makes that person like light up, what their passions are. I barely tell them anything about youth group on purpose. And that's not because I'm trying to hide youth group from them. I'm trying to gauge whether or not this person will be a good fit for our students. And so you just ask them a lot of questions. People will think you're a great conversationalist just by asking them a lot of questions, but also it shows them that you care. So don't go into the meeting, the recruiting meeting, just looking at this is what I need. Go into the meeting looking for what do they need, and does what God has given me to minister to, does that fit with this person? I've had some great people that I know at my church that I think would be awesome youth people, awesome youth teamers, right? But it's just not the right fit for them. And so I'm not gonna like try to like drag them into youth group, because then they'll hate it, right? I'm trying to see if it's a right fit for them, and if it's something that God's calling them to, and that's why I ask a lot of questions. I might have a second follow-up meeting with somebody to if they show interest after that first meeting. But the first meeting is all about like, hey, like I want to get to know you, and here's how it works. On Sunday morning, if I think somebody might be a great fit, they have a good reputation, they've been at our church for 6 months or more, because that's one of our requirements for our church, is that somebody attends our church for at least 6 months before they help with anything with minors. Then I'll go and I'll talk with them over coffee for 30 minutes to an hour and get an idea of what makes this person happy, what makes them tick, what's their passion, and can God be calling them towards youth ministry? Do I just need to invite them to youth ministry? I will usually tell them, hey, like this is what the general requirements are, or the general expectations would be for youth group at a high level. I'll be like, every single week, our youth leaders, we want them to be there at 6 o'clock. It's an hour before youth group. So we can do a leader meeting, and we do a leader meeting whole group once a month on first Friday. And those two things will help people understand, do I even have time to help with this? Pray a lot. Like if somebody gives you the heebie-jeebies, they give you the weird feeling, they give you the, right? Maybe not the best fit for youth ministry. And that doesn't mean like you can't have some interesting personalities at youth group, right? But we want to keep safe personalities at youth group because some people have unique quirks and things like that, and that actually can be a part of like their gifting for the youth ministry. But at the same time, we want to make sure we keep people who may be dangerous or just not great fits in general for our kids. We don't want to be necessarily inviting them. So I usually hold that like, hey, let's see if you'd be a great fit. Maybe would you like to help with youth group until the end of our first meeting? So I meet with them under the premise of let's get to know each other. And I genuinely just want to get to know them. It has to be genuine. People know when you want something out of them. It has to be genuine. You make sure you genuinely want to get to know them. And then at the end, if you have a great feeling about them, you have a good feeling about them, you think it might work, then give them the high level expectations for your team and ask them, would you mind if we followed up about this? And on the follow-up, do it like a week later with a specific time. Because if you don't set a specific time, that person will forget, you'll forget, and then you won't necessarily recruit anybody new. And I've had a lot of success with this. When I came to my position about a year ago, we had 7 people. Like 3 people jumped off within the first month of me coming on, which that's pretty normal. When you take over, people will kind of shift back and forth and figure out what they want to do. But then like we jumped right back up to 7 people within a month because I was just meeting with people and seeing who would be a good fit. And then every semester I've typically lost a person or and then gained a person. So we went from 7, now we're currently at 11, and we've had, I think, 4 youth leaders transition off in the last year, but we've had more than that join us and continue to help us. And so what it really means is you just have to have purpose. On Sunday morning, get out there and get to know every single family that you can possibly think of, whether they have kids or don't have kids, whether they're young or old. You want some parents in your group, you want some young adults in your group, you might even want some grandparents in your youth group because you need that wisdom being given to these students. All right? Get to know as many people. If you think that there might be a great person, invite them to coffee and then just get to know them. If that great get to know them feels good, then tell them the high level expectations, follow up, specific time, 1 week later, and that's the basics of team building. So just to recap one last time, you're gonna have a once a month meeting for your team. You're gonna have fun with your team. You're gonna set expectations with your team. You're gonna recruit people one-on-one, take them to coffee. If you can't afford coffee, meet up in your church lobby and just talk with them. Bring coffee from home, invite them to your home, do something to make sure people know that you care about them. And then you want to make sure that you are pastoring your people. That's the number one thing. Pastor your people. People don't necessarily always join youth group because they like kids. Okay? Liking kids is a requirement, but it doesn't mean that they join youth group because they like kids. They usually want to get to know the youth leader, and that you as the youth leader have the responsibility of casting vision. This has been Youth Ministry Minute. I'm Eli. I'm currently a Next Gen pastor in New England and Connecticut. Please check things out at youthministryminute.com. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube Music. I would love it. I'm really trying to reach out to other youth pastors and give them some tools, because I went to school and spent way too much money on some knowledge that I could have learned from some books. And so I want to be able to give back and bless people with what God has blessed me with as far as book knowledge. I'm still gaining a lot of practical knowledge. I shouldn't say practical knowledge, but wisdom. And I love youth ministry, and I hope you do too. Have a great time see you again. Please like, subscribe so you know when our next video hits, and have a great time. Bye.